identifying quadrilaterals, and what you are supposed to learn from this lesson is how to define geometric shapes. We're going to be talking about quadrilateral. Does anybody, by the way, know what the word quadrilateral means? Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever heard of the prefix quad? Do you know what that means? What quad means? It means four. So we're going to be talking about four-sided figures, okay? One of the things the state wants you to know is what would be sufficient properties to identify these two-dimensional figures. And we're going to look at different shapes to kind of test and see, do they match the definitions that we have for it. Okay? So that's what we're going to learn about today, just identifying quadrilaterals. Okay, so the first thing I've got for you is, let's see, some definitions. So let's open this one up. We'll make this full screen here so that it's not distracting. We have definitions on here of some geometric shapes. And this will be like your pre-test. What do you already know about these geometric shapes? You'll see the definitions on one side, quadrilateral with four congruent sides and the opposite sides being parallel. Do you know what congruent means?
Same.
Same, equal measure, good. Do you know what parallel means? Right, they will never intersect because they're equal distant from each other. They'll never touch. Okay, the next one says a quadrilateral with one pair of opposite sides being parallel. The next one says quadrilateral with four congruent sides and four right angles. Do you know what a right angle is? 90, right. Kind of looks like an L shape when you see it. All right, this next one has a toggle switch next to it, which means that there's more to the definition. So this is quadrilateral with opposite sides are congruent and four right angles. The next one would be a four-sided polygon. Polygon, that's a new word. What's polygon mean? Have you heard of it before? Okay. It's actually a closed shape that's made out of line segments, okay? So you're not going to see any curved lines, any squiggles. It's just going to be straight lines, and they'll all be touching so that it's closed. Okay. The next one says a closed figure composed of line segments and contains at least, another toggle switch, so let's look at that one, contains at least three sides. Okay. And the last one says a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides being parallel. Okay, so are there any definitions or any words up here that you are unfamiliar with? Any ones we need to talk about anymore? What I need is, do I have a volunteer to go up and see if you can match the words on the side? There's square. We have trapezoid, rhombus. We have a rectangle, quadrilateral, polygon, triangle, and parallelogram. Anybody want to go through and see if they can match them up correctly? This is like a pre-test, so if you don't know all of the answers, that's okay. Anybody want to volunteer to go up and move them? You will? Good, Brianna. Okay. So what you need to do is to touch it and drag it over and put it where you think it needs to go. Okay. And the two of you can help her. If she's going to be the volunteer up there, you can help her if you think you know where to move them. A triangle. Just drag it along. It'll go with you. Okay. Oops, I lost you. Can you picture a square? What does a square look like? It has four sides, so that makes it a quadrilateral. What else do you know about a square?
That right angle.
Okay. All right, be careful walking around. Do either one of you have an idea about these other four that she hasn't placed yet? We talked about a polygon. You remember what a polygon was? A stop sign could be a polygon. That's a particular one. Okay. Quadrilateral. What did we say about a quadrilateral? What was the prefix quad mean?
4.
4. Okay. There's a lot of them that say 4, don't they?
Yeah.
But if you were using, if you wanted to find the definition of quadrilateral, would you use it in the definition? Probably not. Okay. Which one?
The one with the table.
Well, why don't you go on up and show us? Okay. Go around this way. I know it's kind of hard when you get in front of a line. So, quadrilateral, what do you think it was?
This one.
Okay, so then you think that one has to be moved somewhere? Where would you move a rectangle to if you don't think it fits there?
End of the top one.
Could be.
I don't know. This one here.
Between that one and that one? Okay, so you're thinking that it's this one right here? The one that says opposite sides are congruent and 4 right angles? With a rectangle, would that necessarily be 4 congruent sides? Okay, so it's not this one, right? But what about opposite sides being congruent? You think that would be a rectangle? What do you think? Okay, so why don't you move rectangle up one? We can check that out. Okay, that leaves 4-sided polygon open. Any one of these? That one? Pull it over. Alright. We still have a quadrilateral with 4 congruent sides and opposite sides being parallel. Do you have an idea which one that might be? Could be a parallelogram. Okay. Why don't you place these last 3 and we'll check them, okay? Just pull them over, drag them to the one that you think is the best fit, and we'll check. You decide, just pull them over. Okay. We got a 3-sided polygon. Would that be a rhombus or a polygon? Do you think either one of those fit? So maybe it's one of the ones we have over here that needs to be moved. What has 3 sides? Okay, move it up. Okay. So now we just have closed figure composed of line segments, contains at least 3, and it has a toggle next to it, at least 3 sides. Well, then pull it over. Which leaves that one down there. Okay. All right. Very good. Thanks for volunteering. Let's check that out then. Almost right. The only difference was the parallelogram and the rhombus. And what's the difference between these two definitions? It says a quadrilateral with 4 congruent sides and opposite sides being parallel. This one says both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So what's the difference between the two definitions? They both say they're parallel, opposite sides parallel. The only difference is 4 congruent sides. Okay, so somebody want to volunteer to move it and see if we can make them all be check marks? We just have to change 2 definitions. Volunteer? Sometimes they just don't want to cooperate, do they? Okay, so you're in